Hello, I'm Craig Shields, and welcome to the 2 Green Energy Report. Each week we bring you the information we think you'd like to know on the subject of the science, the business, and the politics of renewable energy. And this week I'm happy to have on the program Lance Miller, the CEO of a company called DieselTek. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Craig. Nice to be with you.
Glad you could make it. If I were guessing, I would say that the readers of 2greenenergy.com, almost to a person, have one viewpoint in common, and that is, and I don't want this to sound like an unfriendly remark, but they're looking forward to a day that DieselTek, the DieselTeks of the world, will no longer be around. They'll no longer be needed because we will fully made the migration away from fossil fuels like diesel and gasoline and coal, etc., into the direction of clean energy, solar, geothermal, so forth. Until that day, we're thrilled that you're around. And that day may be a long way in the future. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the company?
Well, DieselTek, as far as the company goes, is an environmental company. Our purpose is to provide clean diesel technology to the heavy-duty diesel industry. And by heavy-duty diesel industry, I mean, trucks and ships, power plants, trains, buses, bulldozers, tractors, not cars. We're not interested in the automotive industry. And the other aspect of our technology and the purpose of our company is to provide economically viable solutions to that industry. And really the crux to what we look at there is when we put a solution in or a technology in, we want it to increase the mileage, increase the power and the performance of the engine while it provides lower emissions and a cleaner environment. So our main purpose and long-term goal is to actually have a zero emissions diesel engine, and we do that by constantly working on the efficiencies to get more of the fuel burned and consumed and keeping the engine clean during combustion.
That's cool. It's wonderful. You mentioned emissions, and I think we all have a sense for the fact that emissions are ugly. I think more recently we're starting to learn that they're dangerous as well. Do you mind speaking to that?
Well, diesel emissions have actually been traced to like 70% of cancers. And the black particulate that comes out that we see spewing out of exhaust stacks on diesel trucks is a specific size, which is around 2 microns, that lodges in the lungs and lodges in the body. And there are numerous reports that are coming out that show that kids on school buses where the windows are open and the diesel exhaust is rolling up over the top of the bus and back in the windows. People that live in high, we'll say, transportation areas like ports or around transportation centers, trains, right next to freeways, things like that, have a higher indice of cancer and sickness over time. And so we have something here that has a huge effect on the health and well-being of society at large, let alone specific individuals in specific situations.
Right. Again, I think we get the sense that this industry is quite large. Driving on the freeway, you're passed by or you pass numerous trucks and you see construction sites, and we're aware of diesel power plants, electric generation plants. What is the magnitude of the problem that we're trying to solve here?
Well, first of all, when you look at a diesel engine, since it's mostly especially the engines we deal with, an industry type engine, it's not something that most consumers are aware of how that engine functions or the dynamics of it, the power weight ratios of it or anything like that. But really the fundamental aspect of the diesel engine is there's no power plant out there to replace it.
I see.
So we want to go to some sort of an electric engine, electric motor that would run the same torque and distance and power ratios that a diesel engine does. It would be huge. It would probably take up the rest of the truck with batteries and trying to run an electric motor. You can't do that. So as far as the power plant, there's nothing to replace that power plant. The other thing is that over 70% of every good that every consumer touches is transported by diesel. And we're talking coming in on ships. We work extensively in the Port of LA, which is the largest port in the United States. Every container that comes in there is being transported across the ocean with a diesel engine. It's unloaded off that ship with a diesel engine. It's forklift around with a diesel engine. It's put on a truck and taken to a train with a diesel engine. The diesel engine in the train then takes it on to the next market. So we have a huge infrastructure, and I don't know the trillions of dollars of infrastructure in the diesel industry, but it's everywhere. And to just change that infrastructure out to a different fuel is a huge economic burden.
Sure.
Our purpose is to just make that infrastructure and that diesel system work cleanly, is what we want to do. But the diesel, I said the diesel power plant, there is nothing in the market period that can replace it at this point.